Welcome to a special edition of Northern Business Leaders in association with professional services firm Deloitte. Today we're following up a virtual roundtable event that's happened for business leaders in Tees Valley with Ed Roddis, a Deloitte director and head of insights for government and public services. Ed's been talking about the firm's State of the State report, which brings together a citizen survey alongside interviews with public service leaders from across the UK to provide an annual snapshot of the public sector. It also reports at regional level to put a spotlight on the state of the economy and public attitudes in the North East, including what people in our region would like to see levelled up. Ed, hello, welcome to our video. How did you go about the research? What did you do?
Well, hi, Graham. Thanks for having me. So the State of the State is an annual report that Deloitte puts together with the think tank Reform. And what we do is try and take an evidence-based snapshot of what's happening across the UK public sector. Now, it's informed by two pieces of primary research. On the quantitative side, we have Ipsos Mori conduct a citizen survey for us. This year, they surveyed more than 5,500 members of the UK public, including a significant cohort in this region. And then on the qualitative side, we interview about 50 leaders in the public sector. This includes people like permanent secretaries and senior civil servants in government departments, chief executives of councils, chief executives of NHS trusts, police leaders like police and crime commissioners, and so on. And when we bolt together those two bits of research, the survey and the interviews, we create this picture of what's happening and the state of the state.
Well, I was fortunate enough to attend your roundtable event with Tees Valley business leaders, and it was fascinating. Let's pull a few of the slides from your very long presentation. I've just pulled four up to quickly talk to. The first slide is about how people are feeling about the state of our region, what's better, what's worse. And some things did come out of it. Quite a few people were a bit pessimistic, particularly about opportunities for young people and other things. What would you say were the highlights or lowlights of this slide?
Well, this slide looks at what people think is going to be better or worse about society in the region when we move out of this dreadful pandemic. And what you can see, if you look at the bottom of this slide, people are particularly concerned about opportunities for young people going forward. Some 51% of the public in the North East are concerned about that. They're also concerned about the quality of the public services. If you look, 40%, 4 in 10 of the public in the North East are worried about that. And I think that speaks to concerns about the public finances as well as levels of demand put on the public services at this time. A bit more hopefully though, Graham, if you look at the top of this chart, you can see that 41% of the public, 4 in 10, think that the level of community spirit in the North East is going to be left elevated when we come out of this pandemic.
Yeah, I think that's a rational point of view. Then you have a dashboard. I'm going to flash this one up. This is very interesting. A lot of the business leaders who watched your presentation really focused on this dashboard. It was a points-based evaluation. Explain the evaluation and what the headlines are.
So what this dashboard does, and it's available online at deloitte.co.uk/state of the state if you want to take a look. What this does is bring together three elements of our research. So the panel on the left looks at what people in the North East would like to see improved, where they would like to see investment spent to improve local services, the local economy and local infrastructure. What we did was ask, if you had 100 points to spend, to allocate across local public services and where you live, where would you spend those 100 points? And you can see here one of the most popular areas for investment is in hospitals and healthcare. This also shows where the North East differs from other parts of the UK. There are two other panels on this dashboard. The one on the top is how satisfied people are with their local services and local economy. Now that kind of mountainous green terrain is the UK average, and the yellow line is what people in the North East said. So as you can see, people in the North East, it tends to follow the same pattern as the UK average. What's interesting is the differences. So you can see that people in the North East are less satisfied with job opportunities than people in other parts of the UK, a bit less satisfied with skills and training opportunities, a bit less satisfied with transport links elsewhere, but a bit more satisfied than the UK average, in fact, with their local public transport. And then finally, the panel on the bottom there, on the bottom right, we asked the public, what do you think is better or worse about your region compared to other parts of the UK? Again, that Green Mountain Range is the UK average. The thing to look for is how the North East differs. And you can see that people in the North East think that job opportunities are better in other bits of the UK, along with a few other factors as well. I think the big takeaway here is that people in the North East are concerned about their job opportunities, and they would like to see some extra investment in transport links to the rest of the UK.
Just in the last 2 minutes, let's summarise what some of the other people said. Put some quotes up. There were quite a few of the qualitative bits of research. Some people would say they were pessimistic about levelling up, but talking about how important it is. Some people talk about LEPs and how they have a strong role, but they need to be combined properly with combined authorities. And the ministers say the right things, but joining them up with the officialdom is more difficult. Comments on that?
So absolutely. So this came from our interviews with public sector leaders. And one of the things they wanted to talk about was the levelling up agenda. This idea that Boris Johnson is certainly still ambitious for is levelling up economies across the UK. And what we found is that by and large, people in the public sector are really bought into the idea. They think it's the right diagnosis for the UK, but they are getting a bit pessimistic about delivery. They want to see a programme set out. They want to see some definition around what levelling up means. And they want to make sure it's owned and delivered locally and regionally, not just by Whitehall.
So our final slide, just give us the top three and what people are saying.
So overall, the people in the North East, as the wider UK public, are expecting when we come out of this pandemic that public spending is going to be higher. But actually support for that is relatively mixed. What we find normally is that about 60% of the public say we'd like to see higher public spending and we're prepared to pay for the taxes to fund that. What we're seeing at the moment is a lot less, a much more mixed picture. About a third of the public in the North East backing higher levels of public spending. And I think what's happening there is concerns about incomes, concerns about jobs, concerns about the public finances. We also found the support for the North East, support for a green recovery is pretty strong in the North East as well. There's a lot of talk about a green industrial revolution rolling out. But I think the main takeaway for me is that in the North East, people are concerned about local jobs and local job opportunities, even if they are pretty satisfied with local public services.
Ed, thanks for talking to us about some of the headlines. You'll be pleased to know I put the report to Ben Houchen, who's Tees Valley Mayor, and to conclude, here's what he had to say.
Well, it's fantastic to see the report that's been pulled together by Deloitte and the results of the survey, which in all large part actually reinforces what we're doing in the region. We've seen that there's obviously a dip in confidence around jobs and job opportunities, which we know because of the increase in unemployment across the North East. Skills in particular, which I think isn't necessarily just because of COVID, but is absolutely linked to job opportunities, future opportunities for families, children, and this idea of a brain drain away from the North East. And then finally, that something that has historically been a problem and a challenge for national government as well as locally are the transport links, which is why we look at on transport, investing in the airport, big road infrastructure like a new Tees Crossing, Darlington Station, Middlesbrough Station. We need to make sure that people who are looking for jobs can get to them, because not everybody can drive, and we need to make sure that they've got the right skills. So again, if you want to live in Darlington but you want to go to college in Middlesbrough or vice versa, and you don't drive, you want to be able to get the train, and you want to know that when you've got that qualification, you've got an opportunity of a job in the region. So it does back up, and the work by Deloitte does back up a lot of what we've seen, and it's good to see that the work that they've done does corroborate a lot of the policies that we're making.